Welcome to episode
20.
Episode 20 of...
Okay.
I just keep going.
All right.
Finish the damn thing.
You know.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Webcomic Beacon Presents first issue.
Hi, Marcus.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Fes.
Marcus is having difficulty.
We're going to get through this.
Batman and Robin, #1 from DC Comics.
And I know we're going to be alone on this shit.
Alright, so we'll start with the cover.
Yes.
I think it's really strong at the top.
Yeah. The bottom is a little too murky to really pop out on a comic shelf.
It's not really murky, it's just black.
It's murky. I mean, you could have brought out some more details here, and it would have been a stronger graphic choice.
And to be nice to them, too, the top half is really all that matters if you have a larger store where they generally keep them in shelving units.
Yeah.
As opposed to a full-style thing. So you would see Batman and Robin, this top half would be the major thing. And if you are someone, and this is one I think is definitely more for the older readers as opposed to the newer readers, if you are able to, at a glance, recognize which Robin is which out of the five. There's five. People acknowledge four, but for a while there was a female Robin who...
There was a girlfriend, I heard. That was one of them.
Yeah, she was spoiler at one point.
Not really spoiler because it's like before now, so it doesn't matter.
No, that was her name. Spoiler.
What?
Her name was Spoiler. That was her character's name. She was the Spoiler. That is her name. Okay, so there is, to be annoyingly thorough, Dick Grayson, followed by Jason Todd, followed by Tim Drake, followed by Spoiler, followed by Tim Drake again, and then now this one, Damian Wayne. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, quite a few characters have had this title, and the one to keep it the shortest and to generally be forgotten is the female one. Let's just say that Batman has his preferences.
This is Batman and Robin #1. We go into this not knowing all of these different Robins.
That's the sad thing.
Most people new readers that are gonna come to this. They're gonna be vaguely familiar with Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
okay, there's a Batman, there's a Robin, and okay, the cover. I guess overall, I say would have looked a lot better if everything was like moved down like 2-3 inches.
Yeah.
Maybe. Also, I think part of the problem is most of Batman is detailed
Black.
in grays and blues, which naturally tend to recede when you look at them, as opposed to reds and oranges, which pop out.
Yeah, the top and bottom is just kind of... It's a little too much black, but part of it looks really good.
I mean, but part of the problem, too, is that you're trying to still integrate the dark version of Batman with this very pseudo-retro design for Robin. I mean, he still has the yellow, still has the bright red, still has the green. Mm-hmm. And when you're using that particular design, it's very hard to make him look all that gothic. And he was designed during a time when Batman was very cheerful and very upbeat, very like pre-Adam West, but very similar to what they went with for Adam West. So when you try to combine these two things by making Batman dark, sinister, serious, and badass, and you still have classic Robin, more or less, it's very hard to not have a problem really making those things connect on the same page.
Although I think, that may be part of... Usually Robin is a counterpoint to Batman. He's kind of Batman's conscience. He's still the person who knows how to have fun.
Yeah.
And Bruce Wayne kind of...
Really?
Well,
not according to this story.
That's what they used to do.
That's what I'm getting to. The problem is Damian Wayne is not a counterpart anymore. Mm-hmm. Damian Wayne is a creepy little motherfucker.
People hated Damian Wayne initially because he was a little bastard.
Yeah.
And then they warmed up to him because for a time, the current Batman was actually Dick Grayson, and the two of them played off each other very well. Mm-hmm. Dick Grayson, of course, being the original Robin, and being that more light counterpoint to Damian's very dark,
Dick
much
Grayson
more like
was Batman?
Father.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually mentioned it in the Nightwing for a little bit, like, it's a throwaway line.
What's Nightwing?
You'll find out.
You see, this is confusing.
It's in your pocket.
This is confusing.
The problem, and the main problem we're having here is you need most of this information to understand this book.
Okay, well, for intensive purposes, I was assuming this is Dick Grayson.
Yeah, most people would.
Okay, now going in, we open up, we have a Batman thing. I guess, and now in retrospect, I'm going to guess it might have been from the Batman Inc. thing, the Russian version of Batman. Mm-hmm.
I'm Batman.
Who gets, I guess, eliminated, and he's dead now, so he's not anymore, so... We got a masked villain who's killed him. So we come up to... I don't know where this was for... I guess this is supposed to be Wayne Manor. Oh, it says right there.
Yeah,
If I read the little blocking.
Yeah, if you read it. I mean, the only problem that I would say with the general style is that when they're doing the lettering and they're doing captions, or what would ordinarily be captions, they make them blend in far too well with the backgrounds, particularly in dark
Well, in
series.
general, this particular comic has a lot of problems delineating transitions between scenes and locations. Almost everything is in the same color palette, even when you're switching between scenes. When they do indicate you're in a different location, it's hard to see the indicators.
Yeah.
And there's actually one panel where there is no indication whatsoever that you've moved to a different location, a different scene, different time frame, anything.
Until the next
there's
panel.
no change in coloring. There's no change in lettering, except there's a lettering indicator on the following panel, which would have been helpful. But yeah, it's actually a fairly confusing comic to read, just because it's really hard to follow the scene transitions.
Most of it is because there's no variety in the lighting and the way it's colored. Everything looks very similar.
Yeah, everything's kind of murky, everything's kind of blue.
Yeah. And it makes me sleepy, to be honest, because cold colors tend to do that.
It's all very, very...
It's trying too hard to kind of have that, this is serious.
I guess what I thought was Dick here, which I would probably call him Dick.
It
because
probably should be his new name.
Yeah, because it's like, he's like, okay, you're a little kid, and what is your fucking problem? And it's like, you talk that way? And then it's like, I'm also confused, it's like, Batman, you're really playing up the son and father thing.
Yeah.
It's like, apparently this is Damian, which is actual blood son of his. But here I'm thinking it's like regular Robin. Is like, boy, Batman, you have some serious issues going on here. It's like, wow, and you're making him call you father. Anyway, but so he's taking him out to basically Batman's backstory and introducing him to his, my parents were killed, blah, 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 it's all this. But it's like, what's really interesting about the whole scene is that Batman's bringing him to show this, because apparently the crime alley is going to get bulldozed and repurposed. So it's going to be like the last time he can actually, show one of his Robins, I guess. But I don't know that at this point. So I was like, okay, he's showing Robin for the first time, so this must be really early in his career, blah, blah, blah. But, I thought it was really interesting. Okay, so Batman's going to let go. He's moving the fuck on for a change. He's going to celebrate their wedding anniversary and not their death. And it's like, this is really interesting. Yeah. And it wouldn't help that Robin's being kind of a dick.
It's just blowing the mood.
It's like,
completely.
Here's somebody talking about his dead parents and how he's moving on, and you're just giving him shit. It's like, dude, you're just gonna revert and just smack your ass for being a little insolent little bitch.
I'm so mad he didn't.
It's like, okay, so we got it's sort of a push and pull here. It's like when you were talking about at the beginning of the show. It's like, I think you said that Robin was kind of like usually the counterpart.
Yeah.
This Robin is the little welled up piece of cancer that was harboring all this stuff, and he turned into a little kid and he grew up, and because it seems like, now that Batman's letting him go, it's manifested into this new Robin.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see that as a thematic thing.
It's all of his suppression, and I think he just bore this Robin out of
He's an
like
ass baby.
Growth out of his side.
Yeah, this little growth.
Robin.
That's the only thing that's the only thing that makes sense. And then we come to that panel where you were talking about where the transition is just kind of
not
okay.
It doesn't really help that the scene before took place in water, and then the following scene also takes place in water. But this water is very, very far away
and highly radioactive, apparently.
Yes.
So we got bad guys doing some bad things, and then suddenly, kicking your ass.
Cross shot.
Very confusing fight scene.
Yeah. It seemed like it was trying to be the almost like they're trying to be the badass Batman, okay? But they're using the fight choreography from Adam West, where it's just sort of like these little set pieces where, like Robin's blappa 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 punching this guy 100 times, and then suddenly a dude's flying to the water or into the water.
See, yeah, I don't get what happened. I don't get what's happening.
Is he electrocuted? I don't know, but all I know is Robin is flying away, or maybe towards, and there's something going on.
There's an explosion that goes off, Robin goes flying, and then Batman says, Robin, after 2 o'clock. And he goes, thanks for the handhold. And it's like, what? Did he throw something over there for him to hold? Or is just saying that there's something for him to hold?
I think he threw a batarang.
I think they're trying to.
Where? I don't see
this. Yeah, there's a batarang.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, granted, there's no motion lines or anything to give you the indications. It's not part of his cape. Because that's what I thought at first.
Yeah. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I thought he was kind of like, and then the cape is kind of flowing forward. But then I'm like, oh, I see. He threw that there, then it went there, and when he says
Chank, and then there's like 2 things happening at once.
And when he says thanks for the handhold, I thought he was just being like, oh, thanks for fucking telling me I saw it already, Dad.
Yeah.
God.
Well, actually, what I thought, I was looking at maybe the sequential art is going off. Robin, you're 2 o'clock. Well, the explosion already went off, jackass. Yeah. It's like you told him a little too late.
Or maybe he's talking about like
like another guy or something like that.
Well, that's what I thought he was.
Or where they're running from. It's like.
But I guess it's 2 o'clock is where he was going to grab it. Is he also down there? Did he jump up or down?
Yeah, see, there's 3 little Robins.
There's 3 little Robins,
here.
And I can't tell if is he jumping up to grab this, to go up higher, or was he holding this because he was in the air from flying, and then he jumps downwards?
Well, I felt that he was going downwards, but
I honestly can't tell. It could be either.
It's a little bit sloppy sequential art happening here as far as what's really going on. And then you got the bad guys are getting away, and Robin being reckless and not listening to Batman, which I wouldn't be too surprised by this point of a little insolent kid being a little insolent kid.
Oh yeah. Then some people start melting, and it kind of reminds me of the end of Akira, and I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Well, no, I kind of gather this point, and it's like, I don't get why Robin's doing this. You gotta know that's wrong. It's like, he doesn't give a fucking shit.
And I love how they seem to kill like an entire swim team full of kids to cool the reactor.
Oh, no, there's a net actually.
Yeah, he blows up and see that's what I thought was really cool.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't even see that shit.
I thought that was kind of clever. It's like, okay, well, for some reason there's a nuclear reactor
right above a swimming pool.
Right above
below a swimming pool.
Yeah.
Oh, below. Excuse me. Yes, you're right.
Which
it's like Olympic size too. Like what the fuck?
Well, it's supposed to be a research center, so there shouldn't have been that much nuclear stuff. But still, that's actually really good design to have. Like, oh shit, we got to cool off this thing. Well, what's the meltdown going to do? It's going to melt the cement above it.
Yeah.
And put itself out. Mm-hmm. So actually, that's kind of ingenious design if you have a reactor somewhere, especially in city.
Although, really, how often do you have swimming pools on something other than the
YMCA
bottom floor?
Yeah. Oh, that's true too. Yeah, that's kind of odd.
This is the basement.
Yeah,
but there's like a basement underneath the basement.
No, this is like first floor, and then the basement.
Yeah, but still, it's a pool. That's. I mean, I know.
Batman, did you want people to die from nuclear radiation?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
especially that Robin.
Okay, well, then turn your page back a little bit. There they go.
Oh, okay.
There you are. Yeah, they melted.
I'm good.
So Batman berates Robin for basically being a reckless little shit. I didn't kill them. You kind of basically did. What did you expect?
Yeah, and
you put a tracker on that thing. There's explosive volatile chemical. You're supposed to be smart. That was really stupid.
This is
How
the
do you
thing
really feel about that, Fes?
Yeah, and the thing that bugs me about him is the idea behind Damian, at least before this transition, I don't know if it still counts or not, was that he was born of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. Mm-hmm. Long time sort of thing. So he has Damian with her. And Damian is brought up by the League of Assassins, which is the ninja group that in Batman Begins, Batman's living with. Mm-hmm. So he's brought up to be an assassin, and he's like an asshole, thinks he's hot shit. They kind of helped get him out of that while Dick Grayson was Batman, primarily because Dick Grayson, being the counterpoint to the original Batman, was the same for his son, despite the technical roles being reversed. The problem here is that he behaves far more, to a classic reader, to Jason Todd from the 80s when he was a kid, where it's just reckless, just mean-spirited, angry all the time, and kills people.
Yeah.
While denying it to Batman. There are several times where he very flagrantly has been implied, read clearly yes he did, he kills people in the 80s run.
There was a phone line set up.
Yeah.
to call in whether Jason Todd should live or not.
Oh shit!
And the readers voted.
Right during cliffhanger.
Yeah, and the readers voted that he should die.
Yep, and that's how this Damian behaves. He doesn't really behave like the 252 Damian. He just behaves like 80s Jason Todd, and it becomes really off-putting because people who are fans of Damian already had to get past that initial stage with him in like 2008, 2009.
That's not that far along ago.
No, he's fairly new.
Yeah.
So they had to get past that with him already once. To bring him back to that stage again is just annoying, and it makes me disinclined to read it.
Yeah, it's by the end is when I guess the average new reader would learn that, oh, I guess there were other Robins. Okay, I'm kind of
get that. I don't think he really mentions it very much.
For Batman and Robin, number 1, what's the verdict?
For me, I'll have to give it a meh, because if you are completely unfamiliar with it, you might just assume that the first Robin was Batman's son, and he's kind of an asshole. It would make its own internal sense. But if you know anything at all about Robin prior to reading this will confuse the fuck out of you. Now, whether or not Damian's a pleasant character, whether we are meant to like him, has nothing to do with whether or not this is a good issue. I happen to think that Damian is a little piece of shit who deserves to die. However, I think that, with the exception of the fact that they're still using the multiple Robins, that's the only thing that really keeps this from being a succeeds. Is that when they just kind of throw it in there, but they're still keeping that multiple Robin continuity. That's where it starts to fall apart for me, as far as the first issue goes. So,
I'm going to say it's a fail, just because I have big problem just following the comic on a basic level of storytelling. I thought it was confusing between the transitions. I do think the source material is there. If you're a new reader, you can understand what the characters are getting at, and you can get the dynamic between the characters fairly quickly. But the story is tough to follow just because the art doesn't give you enough information.
I'm gonna have to say it fails as well. That's you gotta start. You got a beginning. You got an antagonist. There's no clear sign that the thing that's happening, the radiation thing, is even related to that until the very end.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin really missed in here, which was getting there with a little bit of. I like the beginning where Batman's freaking moving on. Yeah. I really like that, and I was really starting to hate Robin, and I was confused by Robin. I think even with people that don't read comics will know a bit about Robin from other properties, that they will be confused by this. You don't learn anything about them really until the end. You just get this weird, creepy father sort of thing going on, and son is like, he's not your son. It's like you rescued him from the circus or something. It's like, I was confused out of my mind. You're kind of creepy, Batman, and you're an asshole, Robin. It's like, what the... More than usual, Batman. I mean, but...
Yeah, like the fucking Michael Jackson of the DC universe, and you're just now realizing he's creepy.
This would have played a lot better if they had a little bit more of filling you in on some of that play. Closer to the beginning. It fails overall. There's some potential here for a new reader. You're honestly going to be lost as a new reader unless you know a lot more backstory. Because I was really confused the whole time, so I definitely have to give it a fail. But that's Batman and Robin #1 from the new DC 52.